let's talk about some new properties of some controls that we've already talked about. I will get you set up for the second assignment. This is the last time I will do that for you, just to hopefully burn this into your brain and hopefully it becomes automatic for you moving forward. So in Visual Studio, we're obviously going to create a new project for this new assignment. You should have the correct template at the top left, for that was the one you used in the previous assignment. So you can just give it a double click. For a project name, you can just call it Assignment 2 for now if you would like. But you need to make sure you are saving to your H drive, not your C drive like me. Save to your H drive or your OneDrive, somewhere where you'll always have access to it. We're going to create this project and we are going to learn a couple new things to help you with the second assignment. Now, right off the bat, part of me trying to burn this into your brain, when you create a new project, you should immediately rename the form1.cs. Now, the second assignment deals with flags, so I'm going to call it flags.cs. Press enter or press yes, and you've successfully changed the CS file. Now, give your form a single click, and remember, never change the name of your form. This does it for you. However, you're going to scroll all the way down to the text of your form, because I don't want to see form 1. So since my project is going to do with flags, I will call it flags. That is like what you need to do when you make a new project 100% of the time. You do need an icon, but sometimes you don't know what your icon should be, and you can change that later on. But I know it's going to be flags, and I've downloaded a flags icon. All right. So the new things we're going to learn today, we're still going to deal with our basic controls, our buttons, our labels, and our picture boxes. So let me bring in a picture box like this one. And I've already downloaded some flags. You may need to as well. And I downloaded some cool flags. So I don't even know, Comoros. I believe I'm saying that right. I hope I'm saying that right. The size mode, we typically like zoom to get it nice and pretty, maintain that aspect ratio. And we need to rename our picture box PCB Comoros, because it's a flag of Comoros. So I'm going to call it PCB Comoros. All right. I'm going to bring in a new picture box. And this time I'm not going to give it an image. I will just call it PCB main. It's going to act as my main picture box. That'll make sense in the assignment later. Now, if I don't give this image, this picture box an image is a property of the picture box. As you can see, it is empty. There is no image being shown. So we've talked about changing these properties in the design mode, but how do I write code to change this image? Well, first of all, we need to have an image to change to. So when you add an image to your picture box, if you go into your project, and if you go into your project's properties here at the bottom, and if you go into your resources, these is where you can find all of your project's resources, all of the stuff you've added into your project. So the only thing I've added is a single Comoros flag. Now, I've got all of these other flags. So I can click and drag these into my project. I don't want to overwrite the one I already added. And now I've got some new flags, some new images in my project. Perfect. So I can use each of these images in my project. So if I want to change this picture box, if I want to change the image property of this picture box through code, how could I go about that? Well, I'm just going to bring a button in just for demonstration purposes. And I'm not going to name it, and I'm not going to change the text because I just want to show you. So if I want to click this button, and when I click this button, I want to show a different picture in my picture box, this is what I would do. So I'm going to double click this button, and I want to change my picture box. So I'm going to use PCB main. That's the name of the picture box I'm wanting to change. And then which property do I want to change? Well, I want to change the image property. I want to change what image is being shown. So I go .image. Now I need to set this property to be equal to the image that is being stored in my resources. You can see in your Solution Explorer here, you've got all of these images. So how do I select one of these images to show? Well, I got to jump through some hoops first. These images are saved in my resources folder, and this resources folder is under my project's properties. So I basically got to go properties, resources, and then choose an image. So to write that in code, I just write properties, press tab, dot resources, press tab, dot, and all of the images I have access to will pop up here. So maybe I'm going to change it to this image, Nauru. There are no errors. I am changing the image property of this picture box to be this image. So let's see how that works. So PCB main is empty. There's no image. But as soon as I click the button, there is my image. Now, there's one thing. My image looks funny, and I'm noticing that right now because I didn't change the size mode. Remember, we like zoom. Zoom is a good size mode. So now when I load it up, my image should show as I expect it to. So that's how you can change the image property of a picture box, just like that. The other property I want to show you today is with the label. So here I have a label, and I'm going to call this label LBL main. Just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to make the size of this label quite big, just so we can see it. And I'm going to take away the text of the label, just like that. Now, just a reminder, because that label has no text, if you lose it in your form, if you lose it in your design mode, just click this little drop down, and this will show you all of the controls you have. So LBL main, there it is. I have access to it. So I know how to change the text property in design view, but how do I write code to change the text property? So if there's no text in it, how do I put text in that label with code? Well, watch this. I'm going to click this button, and I'm going to add some new code to this click event. Which control am I changing? Well, I want to change my label, so I use the name of it. Which property am I changing? Well, I want to change the text. I want to change what the label says. And this one's a little more straightforward. So now I can just type what I want that label to say. However, you have to be careful, because when you're typing in just words and gibberish and just characters, you're just typing letters, you must put them in a pair of quotations. Now you can type whatever you want and you'll get no errors. So maybe I want my text to say Nauru to match with the picture box I'm showing, Nauru. So let's see how this works. We've already got the picture box showing, but now when I click the button, Nauru pops up. So I am changing the image property of this picture box, and I'm changing the text property of this label. That should be enough information for you to complete the next assignments. So best of luck, check it out, and yes.